Y'all, Ruthless is moving forward and the storyline is really heating up and we're beginning to see some major changes take place. Lots of new faces are coming into the fold of power as we plight through Season 3 on the compound. This is my review of Tyler Perry's Ruthless Season 3, Episode 3, titled Prepare the Throne. I really enjoyed this episode because there are a lot of changes taking place. I'm glad that Ruth is finding it necessary to take the lead in certain situations, and I'm excited to see what's coming up next. Let's get into this scene-by-scene breakdown, shall we? Lacey is really freaking out over the fact that she just killed 2 people. She's shaking and in pure disbelief. So Paula is the one who has to calm her down and get her to gain her composure. And their plan is to find the keys to the truck that they saw outside and then haul out. But Herbert, he's got something else in mind. As Lacey is in the bedroom looking through the drawers, Paula found the keys underneath Mr. Herbert. And when she turned her back to leave out, Herbert mustered up enough energy to draw that 12 gauge and shoot Paula in her shoulder. So now their plans have changed just a little bit. And in the meantime, right outside the farmhouse, Bryan is still on the phone. I guess at this point, he's trying to call for backup, but Manny drew his gun and told him to drop his. So that phone conversation got derailed. Manny called for Daikon, and he just happened to be on the four-wheelers, he and the other soldiers, and he told him that they had a problem and that the sheriff was coming. They lost reception on those phones, but Daikon told him that he's on his way. Back inside the house, Lacey helped Paula take her shirt off and then put another shirt on. And now their new plan is to shoot anything moving as they try to make it to the truck to get to the hospital. Elder Mother took Ruth the plate to give to the highest. Ruth used her charm and her intellect to get the highest to think about giving Elder Mother a new position that limits her power. She told him that it's a good idea to train the youth the way of the Raku, to give them more decision-making power and a little authority as teachers. And here again, we're hearing that the youth will be coming up and having more control over the compound because remember in the last episode, Elder Mother wanted to elevate Zane to be an elder teacher. Also in the last episode, the highest said that he was glad to have Ruth around, like she brings balance to his crazy, right? The highest questioned Ruth about elevating Joan to a position, but Ruth said that she still has her eye on Joan and that she really doesn't quite trust her yet. And I'm sitting here like, girl, you, her, and River planning to steal money from the compound all together, but now you can't trust her. Okay, he told her to let him eat his Waffle House plate. And he'll think about these subtle changes in power that she wants to make. He told her to send Joan in after he finished eating. Manny and old boy here got Bryan between a rock and a hard place. They began questioning him about why he's up there without a squad car, where he's from, yada yada. And Bryan had a quick response for all their random questions, like he's FBI. And I'm sure he prepared all of these lame responses before he went up to the farmhouse. But then Manny wised up. He told him that he's FBI because they went through his car and found his ID in the tire and notes scribbled on a notepad that there's a man on the inside at the Rakadushi camp. And they want to know who he is. Of course, Bryan is sticking to his lie of being a new deputy from DC, and he's up at the farmhouse on a call that the locals made to the police station. And Manny got irritated because he knows that he's still lying, so he struck him in the face with the gun, and down Bryan went. And Ruth getting power hungry again, y'all. She's standing in the walkway in the dark, all alone. This is when Zane walked up. She told Zane that she wants her to prepare the highest chair for the prophecy. See, it appears that she's setting Zane up. Zane is getting elevated from both ends here, from Elder Mother and from Ruth, and they can't stand each other. Zane is scared and she's confused, and she doesn't want to piss off Elder Mother, and Ruth said that you don't want to piss her off either. And Ruth is feeling away now because at first she told Zane that she could call her Ruth. Y'all remember when they were in the kitchen last season? And now we're back to her calling her Elder again. So in this elevation of power, I just need Ruth to be a little consistent, right? And when Zane left, it looked as if Ruth really didn't want to be that stern with her, but she felt that it was necessary. And sometimes you just got to be that bee, right? To get things done so that people will start to take you seriously. Then this next scene lended itself to a true testament of who Andrew really is. Part of him wanted to flex his authority, take Oliver down, and prove his loyalty to the highest. Then the other part of him wanted to sympathize with Oliver because that's his boy, right, who looked out for him. So watching this scene, I really didn't know which way Andrew was going to ride, but he agreed to take Oliver to be sure that Lacey was okay before getting him back to the compound. Ruth went to the finance trailer to tell Joan that the highest wanted to see her, and River over there hiding behind the cabinets. They paranoid up in there. As soon as they hear somebody rumbling around outside, they go into panic mode. Ruth told her that the highest wanted to see her and that he wants to talk about Lilo. And Ruth lying. That's not what he said. And Ruth been lying this whole episode. She lied to Daikon, the highest, Zane, and now Joan. I guess this is what she has to do to get aligned with her power. And we'll see later in this episode that it was kind of the truth, but not really. Her and River told her that she needed to relax before she went to see the highest. Joan is just being Joan, all jittery and unsure of herself, right? So River told Ruth to give her something to help her to relax, and she did. Joan was a little hesitant to take it all in at first, and then she goes, well, I don't swallow. Joan probably the freakiest one on that compound. She always thinks that River is being vulgar and dirty language is too harsh for her little ears, but she steadily wanted to know how Ruth calms him down, like, all right then, Joan. We see the men carrying Melinda's lifeless body off the compound when one of the elder mothers is joined by the other. She told Marva that Melinda's body was found by the outhouse and that someone stabbed her in her head, but they didn't know who it was. Elder mother wanted to go and tell the highest, but the other elder mother warned her not to because his prophecy was coming that same night and they didn't want to upset him any more than what he already was. Elder mother told her that she was actually waiting on someone to tell her when to prepare his throne, and the other elder mother said, well, Zane's going to do all that. And we all know how elder mother feels about other women doing her job and doing things for the highest, and she's livid. And I know her feelings are a little sideways now because she was really pleased with Zane in the last episode, and now she's finding out that Zane is now taking over her duties. Now we move into one of the most normalized conversations that took place on the compound between River and Ruth. River wants to go and take a shower so that he'll be all nice and clean just in case the highest wants to see him. And he wants this all to happen before Daikon comes back from the farmhouse. He wants to get into the highest good graces because he knows that when Daikon comes back, he's going to want to tell the highest that he caught River at the safe. But Ruth told him not to worry about that because the highest almost killed Daikon for keeping him in the dark about what's happening on the compound. So Daikon's not going to be snitching on anyone anytime soon. They started to discuss the millions of dollars there on the compound and how they were going to get it all moved. Apparently Joan is the only person that's privy to the money and how to get it moved. So Ruth told River that she knows that he has another plan, but if he burned her, that she was going to kill him herself. They both agreed that Daikon and the highest would have to die in order for the plan to be a success. The dynamic between River and Ruth is a powerful one, right? And their plan can work if and only if they make all the right moves. But their plan has a lot of holes in it because of the way that her and Joan feel about trusting each other. Elder Mother ran into Zane with that playground pail. As she was on the way to prepare the chair for the highest, she took the pail away from Zane and told her to send Ruth her way because that's her job. And poor Zane, she's just doing what she's told, but they're giving her a really hard time. Joan made it in to see what the highest wanted, and he talked to her about the money, and he said that when the dust settled, that they were going to send a representative from the cartel to find out what happened to Lilo and the money. He told Joan that their story is that Lilo stole the money and then he disappeared. And we all know that Joan was in shock and she was a little bit relaxed from that pill that Ruth gave her before she left. Oh yes, Your Highest. You're the smartest and you're so wise. He told her to remember to withhold some of the money and set it aside for the compound. He said, don't worry about those old buses. Yes, is going to buy 2 new buses and we're going to go find a new paradise. And we all have to remember that Yancy went to see the raccoon last season at the hands of Tally right before she left. He told Joan that she's got 2 weeks to move that money in their favor, and she said okay and left. Ruth is playing both sides of the fence here. First, she strips Elder Mother of preparing the chair, giving the responsibility to Zane, and now she's giving it back to Elder Mother. Elder Mother is really worried and concerned that she's being replaced because she's too old. And Ruth tried to calm her down and told her not to worry and that his prophecy is not bad at all and that everything will be okay. And we found out here that Elder Mother is sitting in that chair that he sits in during his prophecies, and she told Ruth not to tell him. And why is she still walking around the compound in the dark with that empty playground pail? So now we see River with daggers in Ruth's back already. Joan came back to the finance trailer after talking to the highest, and she told River that the highest wants the money that she has on hold to be cashed out and brought there to the compound, thereby placing the money right there in their laps. He told Joan not to tell Ruth because she may try and cut them out of the deal, and Joan is concerned that the highest will tell Ruth, but he said not to worry because he's going to raise mistrust about the finances with the highest. So Ruth was 100% correct in her suspicion over River, but I'm sure sure that she didn't think that he'd shut her out completely, just cut her off out of the deal altogether. Now, she already warned him that if he burned her, that she was going to help him to leave Earth, but clearly that meant nothing to him. Now, Paula and Lacey done sat around until the last minute to try to make moves towards the hospital. Paula is losing blood by the second, and Lacey's sitting there at the door, gun drawn, waiting on whoever is outside to come in. At this point, they don't believe that the sheriff is ever going to show up. Paula is afraid that she's going to die there, and Lacey is still trying to comfort her. Now, outside is where the real action is. In our final scene here, we have Daikon there questioning Bryan, and Bryan is telling him that he's the law and that they're making a big mistake. Sheriff Conley pulled up, and at first he was doing the right thing. He demanded everyone to drop their weapons, well, with Daikon's help, of course. Then Bryan got all relaxed, a little bit more confident, and told him they were all going down. Then Sheriff took the gun off Daikon and turned it on Bryan. End scene. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you did, give it a thumbs up because you know I'd appreciate it. If you're a Ruthless fan, go ahead and sub to this channel because I do video breakdowns like this all the time. Thank you so much for joining me on today's episode of Ruthless TV, and I'll see you on the next one.